Hello and welcome back to the Comeback Podcast. As usual, I am your host Connor and we are dissecting Chapter 4 of Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich book right here, myself and Nick. And we're going to go into detail about autosuggestion, the medium for influencing the subconscious mind. There are no limitations to the mind except those we acknowledge. Both poverty and riches are the offspring of thought. This is what Hill has here. Welcome, Nick. How are you?
So good, I'm ready for this.
I'm ready to. Autosuggestion, the medium for influencing the subconscious mind. No thought, whether it is negative or positive, can enter the subconscious mind without the aid or the principle of autosuggestion. What we think?
Have you tried it?
I have actually, yeah. I've kind of realised that when the thoughts are positive and when they are negative, it's coming through that force of autosuggestion where it's come up.
Have you tried like repeating something over and over and over again?
Yeah.
Like what did you feel as you were doing it?
As I was doing it, I think realised I am capable came up, I suppose. Once I repeated that over and over again with the emotion, the feelings that I was capable of doing something, then it all came about. I've also had it with the negative thoughts, like I'm useless. That was probably slightly more powerful in my earlier years. I was like, I'm useless, I'm dreadful, I'm rubbish, and that kind of manifested.
And then what's made me question recently is like, okay, when there are those like negative thoughts, like is that happening on like an autopilot or am I consciously choosing those negative thoughts? Like does anybody consciously choose negative thoughts?
Good question. I want to say no as my automatic response, but maybe because it's so familiar and so easy and comfortable, then they probably do consciously choose negative thoughts.
I don't know. Like I've been, like the same thing with like the questions, like asking a question like, why am I doing so good today? As opposed to like, why do I suck at this?
Yeah.
It's like, which question did I consciously choose? Like the negative one, did it just bubble up as like a habit type of thing? Or did I actually choose to say like, why do I suck?
Yeah, that's like the Tony Robbins example, right? That he advocates of asking better questions such as, how do I turn this around? Or what am I going to learn from this experience? Rather than, why do I suck? And why does everything bad happen to me?
Yeah, it's like if I could choose all of my thoughts, would I choose any negative?
No. I don't think you
I
would.
think not.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the idea of the mind and being a garden. Would you deliberately plant shit there? Of course you wouldn't.
Right.
You plant it with the best nutrients and the best soil possible.
Yeah. So then it's like, why would I have like unhealthy things growing there in the first place?
It had to come somewhere, yeah.
It's like, how did it get there? How did I let it grow there? Maybe?
Exactly. That probably came from conditioning, from parenting and societal influences, and very similar to what we've discussed many times, not only on the Napoleon Hill series, about the fact that you lose your identity and you grow your suffering because of that. So it's your parents or society, you find into their beliefs, and that causes your own suffering.
Dude, this is why I like that we're doing this, because like now that we just started this conversation, right? Like just because we said this, now it's becoming more clear that autosuggestion is just choosing how to garden. That's it.
Yeah, choosing how to like water and choosing what to let in.
It's like choosing what to plant in your garden. So it's like, if you can choose it, what will you choose, right? Like,
yeah, and you can choose as well.
Right.
It's a choice, which is why, because of humans we're so different, one person might find something amazing, the other might be absolutely distraught by it. It really just depends on your conditioning as a human.
Now imagine if you're someone who doesn't believe they can choose how to garden.
They have the idea that they're at the mercy of some external force, whatever that may be.
Sure. Or maybe it's just like, I'm the way I am because of this thing that happened to me. And that's it, forever.
Something that happened when you were 10 years old, for example. And you're 80 years old and it's still the whole driving force behind your dominating thoughts and therefore behavior.
Like what if you could choose your garden?
Yeah. Can you choose your garden?
Or choose what to grow in your garden?
Exactly, yeah.
It's like, I don't know what the soil is. Like that, asking what is the soil is like asking like, what is quantum physics?
Yeah.
It's like, where does stuff come out of? I don't know. I don't even know what actual like soil is.
Yeah, exactly. And he literally uses the garden example of recall what has been said about the subconscious mind representing a fertile garden spot. Weeds will grow with abundance and the seeds of more desirable crops are not sown there.
Damn, kind of a fuck.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I forgot he even mentioned that.
Yeah, the pattern's there, isn't there? Yeah.
Oh.
I guess it's just the most obvious examples that just come up.
Dude. Okay, so now this matches with Robin Sharma, right? Because he talks about the garden and what to grow in there.
Yeah.
Damn.
He actually mentioned you cannot afford the luxury of even one negative thought, not one, because it will grow and grow like a seed.
Dude, I gotta reread that. Man.
Yeah, it's a fascinating book, and I'd love to do another series at some point. Yeah.
Damn. Okay, so I suggest anyone who like is into Robin Sharma to reread specifically just that chapter about the garden. It's connecting to this auto-suggestion chapter in this book, Napoleon Hills.
Absolutely.
And the whole thing, like, there's gonna be tons of patterns, like in every chapter. So like, keep an eye out. Like, if you're into this topic and reading books like this, like, keep an eye out for any patterns to connect it with what other authors have already said, because ultimately it's the same book with different labels.
Absolutely. Even the bits that he's putting here about. Remember, when reading aloud the statement, you have to. The mere reading of the words is of no consequence unless you mix feeling or emotion, and you're developing a consciousness. That goes back to what we discussed in episode 1, 2, and 3, of getting the emotion, the faith, the desire, and the identity actually all together before you start putting your auto-suggestions out there. Otherwise, the results will be mixed and futile.
Damn. So how can we put this into like a metaphor that makes sense?
Makes sense.
So let's say like the auto-suggestion, like the sentence you choose is the seed. Let's say that.
Okay.
And then the emotion is what? The water? Like a necessary component needed to grow this seed?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, as someone who isn't the most passionate about gardening, this probably isn't the best example for me personally.
Yo, I don't know shit about gardening, but my mom does. Mom, please.
My dad's a gardener, actually.
Okay, sick.
Well, I say I helped him throughout my youth. I helped him, but it was very half-hearted help, shall we say. I wasn't naturally gifted, and he wouldn't mind me saying this. So, yeah, I suppose I've got the experience, but
it's in there somewhere.
It's in there somewhere, yeah,
it's
knocking around. Yeah. And the lack of understanding of this is the main reason people who try to apply autosuggestion get no desirable results, because plain unemotional words do not influence the subconscious mind without belief.
Dude, imagine trying to grow a seed and not watering it.
Yeah, it's almost similar, right, isn't it? Yeah. It's almost like, to put another like metaphor is like getting in a car, like getting the key, turning the key on, but not actually pressing your foot on the accelerator or going into gear, just being there. Like,
it's like, how you gonna move or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It also goes back to, I suppose, we've not got this specific plan. Like, he actually mentions just before here that in chapter 2 we were told to make our 6-step specific plan for money abundance, whilst it's almost like what you've told me before, like throwing a dart at a dartboard without a target. It's the same here. It's almost like setting off without a sat-nav.
And then I feel like now it's also connecting to chapter 2 of desire, right? Because like if you don't have a strong desire for something, you will have no emotions towards that.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, how can you have emotions towards something that you don't even really want?
Yeah. You can't lie to the mind either. The mind knows that you don't really want that.
So now I'm wondering, is wow, this is getting too much. So is desire the water, and then like the molecules, like the H2O is the emotion? I don't know. I'm just gonna stop right there.
Right. Okay.
There's a connection there somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And it also goes to personal responsibility. You and you alone must decide whether or not the reward for which you are striving, the money consciousness, is worth the price you must pay in effort. That goes to being careful what you wish for, which we discussed, I think, last time as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I've discussed it with a few people recently. Be careful what you wish for. But it did come up on the last episode.
Be careful what you wish for, and also be mindful of who's making that wish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is it your autopilot?
Yeah.
Or are you consciously making this wish?
Is it that wounded ego,
right?
Where you might want something just because it will be like, hey, gotcha, to your high school bully or your parents or your ex-girlfriend, but is that really driving your decision?
Yeah, or like here's one hint that it's coming from like your, let's say your ego, right? Or maybe you call it autopilot. Whatever label makes sense for you, it doesn't matter, just choose one, right? If you hear this thoughts like, man, this day would feel so good.
If this thing would feel so good. Yeah, because that's almost like delaying it, as if like making happiness a place or a destination, where it will feel so good if I do this. Because you're setting yourself up for an anticlimax. Because what if it doesn't feel that good?
And anyways, when after you do it will feel good in that moment, and that moment's gone immediately after it's finished.
Exactly, yeah. I think I heard Johnny Wilkinson say on a podcast he won the World Cup for England at rugby, and it was over within 30 seconds. It's like his whole life's work of striving and achievement. He said the moment before he actually did it was the best because he knew he was going to do it, and then once the whistle blew 30 seconds later, the anticlimax hit, and he thought, what is this next?
It's kind of like Tyson Fury, right? Like he was almost like his whole life dream was to be the champ.
Yeah.
And when he knew he was about to be the champ, then he kind of had like mixed feelings about it.
He did, yeah. He sat down with his parents and his team and said, I will probably be very depressed after this fight because I'm going to win and I don't know what to do after.
That's sick.
And the next 2.5 years he ended up in that spiral because he thought, what's next? You know, what do they call it? Gold medal syndrome, where I think 70% of gold medal winners, not too long after, report depression.
Then we should ask Michael Phelps if he had that.
Yeah, but he keeps going again and again and again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the individual, I suppose. Yeah, and maybe it depends on your expectation. Like, were favourites to win gold medals, would they be? Probably, because it wouldn't mean anything. But if you're an underdog and you win a gold medal, that would be euphoric.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the examples we give of when you expect something, suddenly it's when you expect something and it doesn't happen the way you expect it to, then you get disappointed. But the exact same thing could happen, but if you didn't expect anything better, it's like fine.
Right.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So the example of a child in Africa, you give them a bowl of rice, they're euphoric, literally euphoric, whilst like a billionaire, his steak is cut. Like medium rare instead of rare, he goes and throws a hissy fit. It really just depends, on the situation. Yeah. Do not wait for a definite plan, though which you intend to exchange services. Be sure to see yourself at once in the possession of the money, demanding and expecting the plan. Which goes to, I suppose, taking action, rather than just hoping the universe provides you with this sudden flash of inspiration, when you actually have to go out and work for it and use autosuggestion to connect with infinite intelligence, which I suppose is this invisible force that will give you the ideas for your business, your family, relationships, rather than just saying, I'll wait for inspiration. It's like, no, really get yourself into the headspace to get that inspiration. Don't just like hope for luck from the universe.
Yeah, and also, I don't know if it's mentioned it is mentioned in this chapter. It's gonna come up eventually. Like, that, like, you will get like a flash in your mind of what to do next, and then like he suggests that you take that step because that flash of like the next step is coming, let's say, from higher intelligence.
Yeah. He's actually got on this page. This inspiration may be considered a direct message from infinite intelligence. Treat it with respect and act upon it as soon as you receive it. Failure to do this will be, like, capitalized, fatal to your success.
Have you ever felt you got a message like that before?
A message from infinite intelligence to make the next step.
It's like, for example, it's like you wish you knew what to do in order to get something you want, and you just leave it alone, and then one day you're just washing dishes and like, oh damn, I know what to do now.
Yeah, but I ignored it. I'll tell you what day it was. 31st of July 2019.
Damn specific.
Yeah, that is specific, and the reason is because today, 3 years ago, I moved to Vietnam, so it's an anniversary day. Like, ooh, party. Oh. It is. But the next day, I remember the next day, I spent the whole day just wandering around my apartment complex and just getting to grips with this new foreign country where no one spoke my language, and then sat in my room and had everything ready to go for blogs and had the podcast ideas, but I procrastinated. I thought, no, I'm not ready yet. And I had it, literally the idea was there. It was like, come back from adversity, do this, interview people on your phone, just get it done. And I went, well, wait. It took me 18 months afterwards to actually act upon that message.
Damn.
And the period in between was mixed. I suppose it wasn't a dreadful period. I still had a lot of fun and a lot going for me, but I could have saved a lot of the heartache if I'd have acted upon that message there and then.
True.
Yeah. But then I did get the lessons from it. However, yeah. So I suppose coming to Asia was another example where I got this, where it was just a flash that move abroad and teach for a year. Move abroad and teach, and it was kind of forced upon me by, I'm not forced by my parents, but they definitely encouraged me strongly, and I, was very, very nonchalant. I was like, yeah, maybe one day, maybe, and then finally thought, fucking do it. And it was just such a flash it felt just right when I got that flash to go to Vietnam, ride the motorbike, go to the local places, get the new culture. something felt really right about it.
Mm.
And here we are 3 years later.
Wow, okay. This is like an entire other topic, and it's called intuition,
Mm.
which I don't know much about, and I'm still learning about it.
That's a fair point,
Because
actually.
it's so abstract.
Yeah.
And like I've had moments where I get this flash of like what to do next, and then I'll think like I won't forget, so I won't write it down, but then I'll forget.
But does intuition link with infinite intelligence in any way?
Like these are two such abstract things
Yeah.
that it seems like my gut feeling is saying there's a connection.
Same, but I'm just wondering exactly how or what.
We'll never know.
Yeah.
I think maybe that question could get us distracted.
Yeah, it could. Let's go back to infinite intelligence. Again, we're talking about visualization.
It's like my last comment on that topic is like when that message comes through, it comes when you're doing something like mindless. When you're like washing your dishes or folding your clothes or whatever, something random like that. You just get a flash of like, whoa, it just hits you.
Yeah, that's why it can be important to take days off, where if you do the toxic like hustle culture of daily grind and just work, you might not get, but a lot of people I've listened to have got their best ideas whilst out for a run or a walk or a swim or in the gym or somewhere away from that.
Dude, this is why some entrepreneurs, they take vacation time, like, and go off to do something, like, disconnect from everything so nobody can call them, and just go somewhere.
Yeah.
It makes sense now why they do that.
Yeah, it makes sense. Then suddenly you just have such a clearer headspace and you're not occupied by meaningless, well, I say meaningless, by pursuits such as emails and meetings and all of these things that would usually occupy your time, your headspace and your energy. You're completely undistracted. And so therefore you're in a space to be able to come out with better ideas.
It's like taking your foot off the pedal and look where you are. It feels like that, right?
Yeah.
It's like stop moving for a second and just take a look around what's happening.
Yeah, just observe your surroundings.
Yeah.
I love it when I hear examples of like famous entrepreneurs or CEOs or businessmen or people in that field suddenly like they find something, an amazing idea just because they were fishing or something. Like even the amount of stories that if I'd have known we would stumble upon this topic, I would have prepared a list. But the ones I can think of are like Paul McCartney wrote Yesterday After a Dream.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure, there's many more. Any springing to mind?
I had one yesterday.
Did you? What was it?
I was trying to figure out how to freelance.
Okay.
And then the steps just came. I was washing my dishes.
Yeah.
And then the step by step. And then I thought, okay, I'm not gonna forget. I'm gonna write it down this time.
Yeah. We were actually saying this. I was at a networking event on Thursday with some top creators within the city, and we were talking about ideas and how they come at the most random times of doing the dishes or in the middle of the night when you wake up and in the morning, and then you just don't write it down and suddenly forgotten. I remember so many times just before I went to sleep. You know that weird period when you're about to fall asleep but you're still conscious.
Okay.
I don't know. There's a name for it, but I can't think. The amount of amazing ideas I've had then. But I've just gone. I'll write that down in the morning.
Okay, everybody, write your shit down. Right.
Yeah. Let me emphasize: if you have an amazing idea in a dream, please write it down. Your future self will thank you when you're coming up stuck against a wall.
Like if you're taking a dump and an idea comes in, write it down after you're dump. Don't forget.
Yeah. Like a lot of the books that I've used here and there, literally full of ideas. Just to get things rolling, and it helps so much. Yeah, I think I've heard the concept of like idea sets before, where you like put an idea and then put them all together and see which ones link together, as in which one's vibe. And it's almost like idea sets, which somehow like gets them all together and works out what will actually work for you.
Sick. Idea orgy.
Yeah. I heard that on London Reel. Can't remember who the guy was called. James something. Not James Clear, but someone else. But yeah, it's an interesting concept, I suppose. The summary of instructions. The fact you are reading this book is an indication you earnestly seek knowledge. I think that's true. And it's an indication that you are a student of this subject. The chapters given in connection with the 6 steps in chapter 2 will be summarized and blended with the principles covered by this chapter. The first one is actually something we've kind of alluded to, about going to a quiet spot where you will not be disturbed or interrupted. Read aloud, close your eyes, the exact amount of money that you wish to accumulate. And this is specifically based on money. However, this could also probably link to other areas of your life, where if you were talking about what you'd want in your relationships or business or finance, finance is money, it would probably come up like that.
Yeah, or even inventions, right? Because he's talking about Thomas Edison, Henry Ford. They wanted to invent something, invent a light bulb, invent a specific type of car engine, and the money came after.
Yeah, precisely. It all would have come about.
It's just like decide what do you want.
Yeah.
Decide that.
And it's being specific in terms of first day of January 20, I will have in my possession $100,000. It will come to me in various amounts from time to time.
Yep.
In return for the money, I will give you the most efficient service of which I am capable, rendering the fullest possible quantity and the best possible quality of service as a sales representative of your product. So yeah, that goes to business literally.
That's the exact thing I copied that format, put it on my wall.
Excellent, man. Yeah, I saw actually. Yeah.
I set it to 10 years, but I just scratched off 3 years from that, so 7 years now.
Excellent, yeah.
It just felt like, why not?
Yeah. I look forward to seeing your results, definitely.
Yeah, so I'll let you know in 7 years.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll scratch off some more years, we'll see.
Yeah,
if it feels right, I'll scratch it off.
Of course, yeah. Just wait and see what the feeling is. Use infinite intelligence, use auto-suggestion.
It's like, I feel like it depends on my faith. Like when I originally wrote it, my faith said 10 sounds believable. And today it was like 10 sounds like too much.
Yeah.
7 sounds believable, so I wrote 7.
Yeah. That's how it goes. Yeah, and it says repeat the program night and morning until you can see it in your imagination. Place a copy of the written statement where you can see it.
Yep. Hell yeah, where you can see it, man.
Right by the wall. Yeah. It's interesting the last bit of this. He says, then you will arrive at the point where you can truly say, I am the master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul, which is true confidence. Because everyone can say, I am unstoppable, I am unbreakable, but then like, get annoyed at the traffic 5 minutes later, so it's like, you're not unstoppable. You know what I mean? And I'm guilty of this as well. So many times before I've said to myself, without the emotion of faith, I'm unstoppable, and then a dog's come at me in the street and I've got, shit, I can't go. Yeah.
It's like, do you want to be a bulldozer? Like, that sounds like unbreakable and unstoppable, right? Like, you want to be a bulldozer? Is that what you want to be? Or something else?
A bulldozer? I'm not sure. Are you talking about me personally?
Or just anyone?
Anyone? I'm not sure, to be honest with
If
you.
you want to be the master of your mind, then you would be like, maybe a bulldozer if you want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're a conscious bulldozer.
Yeah, that's how it goes. And he actually like goes through without this about if you apply them with persistence and desire into money using auto-suggestion, and it goes, carry out these instructions as if you were a small child of the faith of a child, where when you're a kid and you have perhaps naivety, you don't expect stuff to happen, and then it comes.
Or you're really good at playing pretend, like, oh, floor is lava.
Yeah.
It's easy to imagine and easy to actually get scared. Like, oh, I mean, not really scared, but at least you're like, oh yeah, lava.
Yeah, I actually used to do it as a kid where in a shopping mall I'd go to, they'd have like the tiles, some would be brown, some blue, some green. And I used to play a game that if I touched the green one I was going to die. Of course it's not like in my mind, and I was amazingly innovative at getting around them, finding bits like that. And I used to like try and play like I was in a cartoon game or a video game. Yeah, it was fucking fun.
Or like don't step on the cracks or something.
Yeah. Did that happen in every country? Yeah, because that happened in like UK, US. Probably happened elsewhere. Like I remember, I don't mean to digress too much, but there was a rumour that went around in the UK that Dr Pepper killed your sperm. And then I spoke to my South African friends here, went round there. Spoke to my Canadian friends, went round there. And I think, who starts this web and gets all around the world?
I didn't even hear about the.
You didn't hear about
But also,
this?
I didn't drink much of Dr Pepper. So.
No, neither did I. But I genuinely was put off by it as a result. I only had like 3 or 4 cans in my life probably until I heard that, and I don't think.
Damn, for them, who started this rumor?
Exactly.
That was probably Coca-Cola, dude.
Probably, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Or Pepsi or something.
Going for the competition. The final bit's really interesting. He says this in capitals, means seriousness. Read the entire chapter aloud once every night until you become thoroughly convinced that the principle of auto-suggestion is sound, that it will accomplish for you all that has been claimed for it. As you read, underscore with a pencil every sentence that impresses you favourably.
That's an option. I think there's different ways to go about it. That's an option.
I'd agree. Yeah.
I think if you get one hint of evidence that auto-suggestion works, you get that cookie, then just work that cookie.
Yeah.
This works. Auto-suggestion works. Auto-suggestion works. And auto-suggest to yourself that auto-suggestion works.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't know, like, I mean, if reading the whole chapter word by word works for you, then do that.
Yeah.
But I don't think you have to. Just
Exactly,
find what works for you.
Especially if you're not like an avid reader, then you might like, you won't have the emotion to. So you might get into the emotion for the first paragraph, but then the next 7 pages you're doing as a chore. And the emotions of a chore are not desirable, so therefore the results won't come.
It'll be like a praying something that you don't believe.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Speaking gibberish and you just don't get
You're
that.
just making noise.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. No, you got any thoughts about this chapter that you'd like to?
It took us to some places I didn't expect at all.
Yeah, same man. Yeah.
The garden, intuition. Crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
What's next?
But yeah, next would be specialized knowledge. So stay tuned for that one, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Sick. Here's a question: do we do chapter 5 or not today?
I'm down. That was pretty
You're
down.
down. Yeah, it was
And I
25
read
minutes.
I read the chapter.
Did you? Okay, cool. I'll make a cup of tea before we do it.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
See how much argument.
I'm gonna-